very different experience for me personally. I play cricket. I've always played cricket. I've always I was speaking to Raghav before this as well, and going into the first game of a tournament is a different feel altogether, right? So I think similarly, it's going to be like going to the premiere of this documentary on Thursday. But yeah, I mean, very excited for this. I mean, he has put in a lot of hard work for the last 2 years, and obviously, it's never easy to sort of follow someone for such a long time. And I really uh, I'm grateful towards him that he has been he has that passion. He could see that passion, and when we first met, bringing it down to the table, and then also after from there continuing on to this has been a great journey altogether. And finally, coming in celluloid is something I really look forward to. In 2021, I decided to move to America to pursue my cricket. Again, cricket was very new over there. Uh, they were talking about Major League Cricket coming to USA, and the World Cup was also supposed to happen in 2024, which it did. But again, the whole landscape has sort of changed over the years, and uh, it's myself and a few others who have been the first ones who went there and started the whole this cricketing migration, you can say. So a lot of players now have moved there from different parts of the world. So again, I mean, it's all about growing the sport. I really feel that we have a lot of cricket. It's a different craze in India altogether, but the way it's growing in America and other parts of the world is something which is very important for the future of the sport. And I really look forward that in the next few years, U.S. cricket is also going to be at the top, playing against the top teams, doing well against them.
Unmukt and I spent upwards of 2 years in this journey on this journey together. I clearly remember it was one early winter afternoon. I called him in the US that Unmukt, I'm in the US and we've been talking about this. Let me come down and meet you. I came down to San Francisco, had lunch with his family. He and I, we spent the entire day. I was hoping we'll do a 1 hour, 2 hour meeting. We ended up spending the entire day together. And that is the foundational stone for documentary filmmaking. The relation between the director and the subject of the documentary is one that is based on mutual trust and a shared common goal. And I think that's something we clicked on very early. Obviously, we both came from Delhi. I used to play cricket like every second child in this country, not at a competitive level, of course, but that love for the sport was equal. So there was that familiar milieu from which we came up. There was that idea of the world that Delhi is, or how cricket functions at the grassroots level. And then his story stood out for me. What followed was at least 6 to 7 trips to the US when he's playing a tournament or when we have to shoot other parts of the story. Him coming to India, shooting those parts as well. And I saw how, for a sports person, some things remain constant, like your dedication to your routine, fitness, etc. But you can see that ahead of a big tournament, somebody's tensed. After a nice run, a nice performance, somebody's relaxed and looking forward to the next election. It's very human things to see. And I think those are the subtle things we've thought of bringing out in this documentary as well. The success of documentaries to a large extent has to be credited to the streaming platforms, not only in India but worldwide. They've made it mainstream, they've made it entertaining. But documentary as an art form, as an entertainment form, should not stop there. Worldwide, you see documentaries releasing in theaters. And I think with his story, set against the backdrop of cricket, with that emotion of following your dream, following a dream where you're not only you as a young cricketer or young sportsman, but as parents, as family, you give it your everything, is a relatable, wide emotion. And when we met our distributors, PVR, they also bought into this idea that this is a story that should resonate widely or can resonate widely. Now, going to theaters, yes, is a gamble, but it's a gamble worth taking.
And obviously, it's pretty exciting that it's a theatrical release. We don't see a lot of documentaries in India getting a theatrical release, so it's a big thing for documentaries in itself. Well, I really like the title Unbroken because I feel uh, See, I'm someone who will always sort of start again, even if things go your way, it doesn't go your way. It's important to start over again. That recent button is important, especially in sports. I feel every day is different, every season is different, and so goes for life as well. But in sport, we see it very quickly happening, and it might be a good one for you. But mostly, I can share from my experiences, you always have more of failures and then lesser of success. But then the whole point of it is you got to keep moving on. You need to be resilient. You need to stay persistent, and there's no way if you need to stay unbroken basically to make sure that you keep following your path. You keep pursuing success. My job is to play cricket in the best possible way of doing it. My job is to make sure that I keep myself fit, and wherever I go, I perform. Whichever team I play for, I do that. And obviously, I never thought of a documentary. 2 years back, obviously Raghav came in and sort of brought in this idea, which I sort of resonated with, and it's coming out now. But again, I look at it from a very cricketer's point of view angle, and again, if my journey coming on celluloid makes a difference in terms of people not giving up on their dreams, sticking to their processes, making sure that they keep working hard, even if life throws them off balance, then I think it's a success for me in itself.
When you approach a story as a director or a producer, it comes with a singular focus of telling the story you want to tell, how you want to tell it. And but what people don't realize, behind the curtain, there is an entire crew, not only of technicians, but also of these enablers who largely come from the studio side. So a studio executive is not something who just greenlights a project or approves a budget. They foresee concerns that may arise later and they mitigate those concerns. For documentaries, those concerns could be very different. Like for a sports documentary or a music documentary like Yo-Yo Honey Singh, famous, which I co-commissioned during my stint with the streamer. You have to start archive conversations way ahead in time. They take time to close. Talent relations, onboarding the talent, that's something, first thing you start with. Now you compare it to something like The Hunt for Virappan or Mumbai Mafia, again, two contrastingly different titles I worked on. They are coming from the world of crime. So what is of paramount importance is the safety of your crew, a certain stealth mode in which you operate until the title is made. And like journalism, crime and sports reporting are chalk and cheese. They seldom overlap, rarely overlap. But when you work as a director or a producer, once you've locked your subject, once you've locked your genre, obviously you will pay attention to the nuances, but your role as a storyteller doesn't change. Your idea is you tell a story in the most compelling manner, reach out to as far wide an audience as possible, and it should have that singular signature that every storyteller, every author has. So those are the few things. Then what is also important for the success of not one but many stories is that there is an ecosystem of streamers, networks, studios, producers, and then directors and writers. They all have to come together, back an idea, champion it. Only then can it realize its full potential. So for people to think that something was born out of a person's thought and passion alone, that may be the case at the seeding stage, but to see a project through, when it releases, the scale at which it releases, it requires a village to make it happen. In 2011, India won the World Cup after many years. And for an entire generation, including myself, that was a breakthrough moment. That was a moment of deliverance, of course, because every 4 years, the childhood memory was India will win the World Cup and will not end up winning. But finally, we won. So an entire generation had validation and collective euphoria like you've never seen before. The very next year, Unmukt in Australia scores a flamboyant century in the final and wins the World Cup, the Under-19 World Cup. Immediately, overnight, he becomes a media sensation. The next big thing in cricket, comparing him to Virat Kohli, etc. And as a cricket fan, you're like, okay, he's the next rising superstar. charming looking young boy. He's going to go on and rule the cricket. What happens next? A few years later, I clearly remember I looked at my phone and there was a notification, Unmukt retires from Indian cricket. Got me thinking, such a bright, prodigious talent, what happened? I reached out to him. Then I followed the entire journey and I realized that there's a story, and there's a story beyond cricket. Because exceptional, once in a generation talent, not all of us can relate to. What we can relate to is things not going how we had planned. What we can relate to is finding us at the dead end of life, trying to find a detour, get a course correction, a second chance. And I think that's what Unmukt's journey in the second stage of his career represents. Like I've said before, this is the story of broken dreams and second chances. And it transcends cricket, it transcends sports. It resonates to you at an emotional and a personal level.